Hey, welcome into the Wild and Wacky edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. Off camera, but definitely in the house, it's Chris Yao here. A little more.
Can't get there.
Can't get there? Okay. All right.
You can't get there from here.
Yeah. You've done that this week.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm they actually picked me up on the side of the road as I was I was lost yesterday, still just driving around Nashville.
You ain't from around here, are you?
I was not.
Today's Lee Company studio is First Horizon Park, as the Nashville Sounds have their 2024 preseason media day festivities scheduled for this afternoon. And we are taking advantage to get a few minutes in the second hour of the show with veteran Sounds manager and all-time franchise victories leader, Rick Sweet. So, going to be visiting with him at the top of the 3 o'clock hour between Heather Williams talking NASCAR and Joe Sullivan talking Nashville and NCAA hoops. So, looking forward to it. Good show.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're out here, First Horizon Park, obviously a fantastic place.
What a beautiful day at the ballpark.
Great day to be at the park. They got the media day going on. They're having a team meeting just off behind us, and they're going to start doing photos, putting them through the car wash, the media car wash today. So we're glad to be a part of it. And we got a big show like you touched on, Mo.
Absolutely. In addition to those guests, we'll also be talking a little NAIA hoops. We mentioned to you yesterday that Freed Hardeman was playing for a national championship out in Kansas City. We'll let you know how that went. And because of the glare, as I lamented during the run-up to the show, it's not always easy to find my cursor, so I can't get back to where I need to be to see what else we got on the run of show.
Well,
so
let me help you out.
Anybody
Little
else
help
wants
from
to
my
help
friend.
me out, yeah.
Well, of course, we can talk women's. I'm sorry, you guys talked women's yesterday.
We did.
We can talk about a new coach. Speaking of Kansas City and Missouri, and speaking of Heather Williams, I guess we could ask her opinion on their new basketball coach. They're also their old basketball coach.
Meet the new coach, same as the old coach.
Right. Yeah. And a little NFL. We got a little Major League Baseball too. Some roster movement and contract signings. So
we've got some NFL that we kind of need to wrap up from yesterday, because I kind of left us hanging on a tease.
What?
In the first, it was inadvertent, but it was a tease. So we're going to tie up a loose end during the grab bag later in this hour as well. But some coaching movement, both at the collegiate level and at the high school level.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so
all of that.
And of course, it's Wild and Wacky Wednesday, and who better to bring it to you than Mr. Wild and Wacky himself, Chris Yao. We might even have to get him on camera for this. Yeah, so maybe some folks moving around or something. Mark, stay loose. Anyway, great show, and gonna get it started like we always do about this time with yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
On the rundown.
Hey, how about this, folks? How about we just kickstart the rundown? We go with always baseball results to start things off, and let's dive right in. Yesterday on the diamond, it was BGA, a 2-1 win over Grace Christian Franklin. CPA knocked off Pope John Paul II, 11-0. Henry County picked up a 10-2 win over Dixon County. Father Ryan dispatched Lipscomb Academy 2-0, your score there. Middle Tennessee Christian 13, Franklin Road Academy 3. Friendship Christian takes down DCA 14-1. Speaking of 14, Fairview put up 14, but Hume Fogg gave them a good fight. 14-12, your final in that showdown yesterday on the diamond. Clarksville wins it 16-1 over Kirkwood. Beach was a 5-1 winner over Mount Juliet. Providence Christian takes it from University School of Nashville 9-6. Murfreesboro Central Magnet defeating Ramsey, Alabama 14-6, your final there. Centennial knocking off Ravenwood 6-3. Thompson, Alabama defeated Riverdale by the score of 4-0. 5-0. Excuse me. Thank you, Mo. Columbia Academy knocks off Robertsdale, Alabama 6-4, and Clarksville Northeast defeated Rossview 4-0. A game that occurred earlier today. Our final baseball score was Muscle Shoals, Alabama 5, Murfreesboro Central Magnet 3.
I noticed we didn't have any Pearl Cone.
Was it Pearl Cone White's Creek?
White's Creek scores in there.
Yeah.
On the softball diamond, it was Lawrence County 15, Lewis County 4, Zion Christian 3, Community Christian nothing. I guess the 10 p.m. game was after press time, so we don't know.
It did not make anybody's deadline in this area.
I stayed up till 2 a.m. looking for a final, too. Never found one.
Today, earlier, Oakland down West Point, Alabama, 7-1. Now on the pitch, it was Ezo Harding blanking Westmoreland 3-0, Lebanon 3, Gallatin 1, Hendersonville 1-0 winners over Green Hill, Harpeth downs Whites Creek 6-1, and on the ice. We'll talk about it here in just a minute. The Predators 5, the Golden Knights 4 in overtime.
Today's baseball schedule, starting just a few minutes ago, Rogers of Alabama, the Pirates, as Chris likes to say, playing at Loretto. 2 o'clock start there again. Kettle Moraine of Wisconsin is playing at Riverdale. That's a 3:30 start at 4 o'clock. Ravenwood is at CCHS, taking on Centennial. I think I left a C out. Father Ryan's at Lipscomb at 4. Also at 4:30, it's Brentwood at Franklin. Set Coosa Central of Alabama is at Montgomery Bell Academy at 4:30. Also at 4.
.4. 5 p.m. will be Lawson and Overton. 6 p.m. will be Hillsboro and Overton. Games that'll be at Pearl Cone tonight. Pearl Cone and MLK. That game kicks off or gets underway at 4. MLK and Hume Fogg at 5. Pearl Cone and Hume Fogg will play at 6. Final girls flag football contest tonight played over at Whites Creek. Whites Creek and Hunters Lane scheduled for 4. It'll be Hunters Lane versus Maplewood at 5. Whites Creek versus Maplewood will cap the action at 6. And a big game in the NBA tonight. The Grizzlies will host the Lakers.
That's a big game for whom?
Well, huge game for the Lakers after that massive win in overtime, double overtime last night versus the Bucks. LeBron should be back in action. It'll be a big game for the scalpers if LeBron is playing.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
But if he sits out again like he did last night, don't count on those tickets going for much. But the Grizzlies will take the hardwood at 7 p.m. You can see the game on Bally Sports. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Chucklefield Rundown.
Your top story brought to you as always by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and get through there for their delicious daily deli lunch options as well as their hand-cut meats. And everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you your top story. And Chris alluded to it. People are saying that the Predators may never lose again. And I will tell you, last night was the first game that I have watched in its entirety, probably since the Stanley Cup run. And after watching that, I'm not inclined to disagree with people. They may never lose again because they were down 2-0, 6 minutes into the game. They were down 3-0 at the end of the first period. They were down 4-1 at the start of the third period.
And you kept watching.
Now, that is dedication.
Well, I heard a stat during that second intermission that kind of hooked me.
Okay.
During this points streak that they are on, the Predators had outscored their opponents 34-12 in the third period.
Well, they got bigger.
So now, trailing 4-1 at the end of the second period, the Preds have outscored their opponents 37-12 in the third period because they tied the game, got the point, their 18th straight game with the point, forced overtime, and then the captain, Roman Josi, said, "It's time to go home, y'all."
Literally, what, 35 seconds in?
It was less than a minute in when he took the puck on the right side, crossed it over, and slid one past the Vegas goalie for a 5-4 overtime victory. So, yeah, I'm convinced the Preds are never going to lose that. I mean, if they didn't lose that,
People are saying,
and I'm among them.
And and it's just one of those games where you just kind of got to ride the lightning, right? I mean, this team, you think, okay, finally the luck has run out.
Right.
oh, trust me, I was saying that the entire time.
And my sister is one of the most diehard fans, and she's texting me, "Oh, great. You know,
well, and it just
there were a lot of 4-letter words thrown in, and that was all in the first period.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden there were a lot of other 4-letter words that were thrown around, but it was like holy blank, holy this, holy that.
Holy Yossi.
And yeah, and then holy Yossi indeed. By the way, all this guy's done in 72 games. He's sitting at 73 points. He's got 19 goals now, 54 assists. And I know Hughes has kind of been thought of as a lock for the Norris Trophy for the best defenseman all season, but this guy is literally just strong-arming his way, kind of like the Preds are, into the national conversation. And this is just an unreal run that this team is on right now.
It made sense, though, that if anybody was going to stop the run, it would be the team that started the run. So that's why I was sitting there going, well, I mean, it's Vegas. They started this thing.
Yeah.
And it only makes sense.
Kind of makes it symmetrical, right?
Yeah. And no, just kidding.
Yeah. I do wonder, speaking of that, I do wonder how much U2 was played in the
there was zero U2.
No U2 was played over the speakers last night.
No U2 concert, no U2 music, none. No,
Bono is banned.
Because there's two ways to go about that. You know, you can really lean into it, or you got to completely abstain. And so it's good to know that they went that direction.
They're all going to get U2 albums on their iPhones tomorrow.
Maybe at the end of the season. Here's my question, though, and it doesn't so much concern the Nashville Predators as it does the rest of the National Hockey League. What are you thinking when you play these guys at this point, after they come from 3 goals down in the third quarter to and I mean, Vegas is a good team, right?
Yeah. Very much a good team. And again, that's why, to me, I'm watching it last night and texting back and forth with Sis, and I'm thinking, okay, the luck has run out. It wasn't as if this was just a pedestrian team.
I posted something on Twitter. I said it's kind of tough to be pissed, but they're down 2-0, 6 minutes in.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, if this is,
and then it was 3. It was 3
and then it was 3 not long after that, and it's like, okay, so again, this is it. All right, it was fun while it lasted. Well, it's lasting at least one more game. So
the crazy thing about this, and this is obviously you're hoping this is not what happens, but the way the world works, their next game is tomorrow night. They're going to Phoenix. They're playing the Coyotes, one of the worst teams in the league.
This is it.
So brace for impact. However, Obviously, hoping good things. That game is a 9 p.m. puck drop, by the way. However, if you win that game, there is a massive showdown in Colorado on Saturday at 5 p.m. McKinnon is playing out of his mind right now, kind of like Yossi's playing out of his mind, and the Preds and the Avalanche. I am just praying that they defeat Arizona tomorrow night because that is going to be must-see TV on Saturday.
Who's in goal tomorrow? I don't know if they've announced it, but if you are Andrew Brunette, who is in goal tomorrow against Phoenix, knowing you have a game the very next day against Colorado?
Saturday, you do get a little rest.
Okay.
Thursday, Saturday.
I don't think there's any question. It's Lankinen, right?
I would think so.
I mean, because not just for Saturday, but for the long run, you've got to get UC off his feet when you can, right?
Yeah, and it's not like Kevin Lincoln hasn't been fantastic in this run too. So
I mean, he put up the second of back-to-back shutouts.
First career shutout.
Yeah.
And that is a great point, and that's a great question because on paper, obviously, this is a very winnable game, if not a should-win game. For sure, a should-win game. But at some point, yes, at what point do you value this streak? We discussed even before we went on the show, they're 10 points clear of the Blues in the next spot down in the Western Conference standings. And so it's kind of like, yeah, you obviously you'd love to win every single one of your last 10 games. But if you got a chance to just throw some fresh ice or fresh rest time for Saros,
sometimes, and I'm sure Brunette knows this, you got to lose a battle to win a war.
Yes, and that's kind of, I guess, where I'm going with that.
Well, and I was thinking that I'm sitting here going, well, at what point would you rather lose, now or later, and take the
now? And I mean, you don't
pressure of the
you
streak off.
You certainly don't want to lose to a subpar Arizona team.
But I mean, if they're going to lose, it's going to be to a subpar team. Just I mean,
so
Minnesota came in here and got the tie.
Well,
so I mean,
that was a little John Hines and a little riverboat gambler action right there, though.
Sure.
But still, all they got was the tie. So
interesting of note, real quick, per the Athletic, remaining games. The good news for the Predators, they are in the. It's going to sound. I hope I get this right. They're in the bottom half, but it actually means a good thing for them. Their schedule remaining is one of the weaker schedules, and if you throw out a team like Colorado, it'd be even weaker. So the good news is this team has a chance to really punish some squads coming down the stretch. But talk about a back-to-back. You get Colorado Saturday, and then you're back home. Talk about how lit the barn will be Tuesday night. The Bruins come to town. So you got Colorado and Boston coming to town on Tuesday. That will be two epic back-to-back games. Obviously, if you lose Thursday night, which, as we've said on the show, they're not going to lose again the rest of the season.
That's right.
So really, I don't know why we're even having this conversation.
I'm really not sure why we're having it either.
But the schedule is really favorable for them and a chance for the Preds to just absolutely keep this momentum rolling right into the postseason.
Yeah. That was fun. That was fun last night. Even with the shaky start, it was fun. So
it almost makes it more fun.
Well, it's kind of that. How are they going to win this one?
Yeah, it was just a roller coaster.
Yeah,
that started off real slow, and then built up, and built up, and then went off the cliff,
and then it dropped off. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's take a break here from the Lee Company Studios on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, we will be joined by Missouri State graduate Heather Williams, talking a little NASCAR, a little basketball, and
who knows?
We'll see where else it goes from there. The Royals open tomorrow as well. Andy Reid throwing out the first pitch. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Royals gear from Heather when she comes in. So stay tuned. We'll be back after this. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Welcome back into the wild and wacky edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, flanked by Wade Neely and this guy, Chris Yao. And we are now joined by Heather Williams.
No camera today.
No camera today. Boo.
Sorry.
Boo.
I'm not wearing Royals gear. That's for tomorrow anyway.
Oh, okay.
All
Okay.
right, fair
Got you. Okay. That is fair enough.
We'll let this one slide.
We will. We will let people continue to see the beautiful First Horizon Park over mine and Wade's shoulders here. But Heather, before we get into NASCAR and Tyler Reddick and Coda and everything else, how are you feeling about your new men's basketball coach?
You mean our old men's basketball coach?
Exactly.
I'm not sure. It's funny because when he left Missouri State to go to Tennessee, I was upset about it because I was like, no, don't do it. I always felt like Conzo was like a mid-major coach and that it was never going to work, and that and it actually worked better than I thought it was going to at Tennessee. I mean, he was a good coach despite what some Tennessee fans may think of his performance there. Tennessee was probably his most successful stop along the way. So the only thing that concerns me is it's been a long time since he's been in the league. The league's changed a lot, obviously, and he hasn't coached the last couple of years. But I loved what he did while he was at Missouri State. Easily the most successful coach that the school has had since Steve Alford. So, and this is a program that was with Alford and with Charlie Spoonhour, just regulars in the NCAA tournament back when old people like me were in college. And now they haven't been since Alford was the head coach of the NCAA tournament, which was 99 when they beat Tennessee to get to the Sweet 16. So they're desperate to get back to that level. It's a level that a school of that size with those resources and those facilities should be doing on the regular in that conference. So I'm excited for the possibilities, but the way the last, 20 years have gone, I'm not that optimistic because I'm not sure that the coach is the problem there, but we'll see.
Conzo Martin is the new coach at Missouri State, as Heather mentioned, former Tennessee coach from there to Cal, from Cal to Missouri. Is that right?
Yeah, Missouri.
And then, as you said, been out of coaching here for a few years, but he's back. He's replacing another coach who's familiar to some of our listeners, former Tennessee State coach Dana Ford, who was let go after 6 years, Heather? Is that right?
I believe that's correct. 6 years and one NIT appearance, if I'm correct, in those 6 years. I had real hopes for him. This is why I may not be the coach that's the problem there. Something that I'm sure Tennessee fans are somewhat familiar with when you were once a proud tradition and went years and years and years without doing anything. I'm not sure that the coach is the only thing that needs to be fixed because I really thought Dana was going to be successful at Missouri State.
I was really surprised that he wasn't any more successful there than he was, given what he was able to do during his run here at Tennessee State. So hated to see that for him. Hope he bounces back and gets somewhere where he can have some success. And it's interesting that you say that maybe it's not the coach, which the only other alternative there is it's the school. So we'll see how that works out, and hopefully Coach Martin can get some things figured out.
Yeah, hopefully, because I love college basketball. Obviously, I grew up in the shadow and footprints of Kansas. When I went to Missouri State, one of the things I liked about it is the fact that the basketball team was good, and the last 20 years have been painful.
On to brighter thoughts. What did you think? What did you think of Texas this weekend?
So the road course at Coda was interesting. It was
that's one way to put it.
What's that?
So that's one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see William Byron up front because he's definitely not the guy you think of as a road course guy, but he pretty much dominated the race, which was interesting. I have no idea what I think of course limits. I mean, you have to obviously have a way to keep guys on the track and not cutting corners, but 30 seconds seems a little excessive punishment for cutting a corner that saved you a second or two. So I don't know what the solution is there. What they're doing ain't it for me. But otherwise, I thought the race was okay, not great. There was some strategy going on, which made it a little bit interesting than it probably would have been otherwise, which is kind of what road courses are. But no cautions other than the stage breaks. Kind of just made it ho-hum for me.
And everyone else. Anyone else who was watching.
Glad I'm not alone in that.
But here's the good thing. At least there was some drama following the race. As there is at least Bush-Bell beef.
And I still don't understand why Kyle's mad. Maybe you saw something, Chris, that I didn't, but
I have no idea. But there's beef, clearly.
Yeah, there's beef.
Hold up a second, because beef doesn't have to be logical.
That's fair, especially when you're talking about Kyle Busch being involved. So, I mean, he cut down over the nose of Christopher Bell. I don't know what Christopher was supposed to do in that moment. He slams on the brakes and he gets run over from behind. So, I mean, he took the...
Look, Let's just call it what it is. Nothing is ever Kyle's fault.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably fair. Though I thought in the last couple of years that Kyle has grown up from that a little bit. Like he hasn't been since he moved to Children, seems to be much happier, a little more like present of the people around him. And so this was a little bit, it was definitely not out of character for Kyle Busch as a whole, but it was a little bit out of character for Kyle Busch in the last 3 years. So I don't know. There's probably more to the story. You know, they were teammates for a long time, but they were like friends, which is interesting. Because I think everybody else, you know, gets along with Christopher. I think, you know, everybody else got along with Kyle. Why those two never really seemed to get along, I'm not sure. Maybe they did, and you just never saw them talking to each other, but it didn't seem like when you walked in the garage they were talking together, sharing information, or going to each other, or any of that kind of stuff. And they definitely weren't like friends outside of the track. So that I know of. So I don't know. There's probably something more to it than just what happened on Sunday.
It's never a dull moment with the NASCAR, especially sometimes off the track, like you have mentioned there. Heather, talk to us real quick. William Byron, obviously, after winning Daytona, he comes back and bounces back, I believe. Is that correct? Our first repeat winner of the season?
He is.
And we were kind of on a stretch where we saw several different winners for a while there. And I'm curious, is this the start? You mentioned to me a couple weeks ago that we were kind of just maybe waiting to see somebody kind of take off on a nice little run here. Is this something that he can really use to his advantage to kind of really kind of build some distance? Or is this something that maybe just had a nice week last week and we see everybody else kind of start catching back up this week?
No, I think Williams probably the guy to beat in the garage area. I mean, they were the class of the field through the regular season last year. And what's really scary about this year is that he's won at two tracks or two types of tracks that aren't really tracks that he's particularly been good at the past. He's not a super speedway racer. He hasn't been known as a road course guy, and that's where his 2 wins are this season. So if I were the other guy in the garage, I would be, you know, afraid of that. He's not leading the points, so he's got some work to clean up. Truex is leading the points, and I think William, even with his 2 wins, is 4th. So, but you will start to see the cream rise to the crop, but you're still going to get guys that are going to win that you aren't expecting, because that's the nature of the next gen car and that's the nature of the sport. But you are starting to see, and it's the same cast of characters: Hamlin, Truex, William Byron, Christopher Bell. Those same guys start to rise to the top of the field.
Heather, as we look ahead to Richmond on Easter, is there what has been talked about? Is there anything that's going to take place with tires? Will there be a similar issue with that we had at Bristol? What's the deal going into this weekend?
I doubt it. I mean, it's too quickly. They haven't had a chance to run a test, so it's too quick to bring a different tire to Richmond. Now, when they come back the second time, they might. I don't think you'll see the same type of wear at Richmond as you did at Bristol for a couple of reasons. They run a different package. At Bristol, they run the intermediate track package. They'll be running the short track package at Richmond. Plus,
oh boy.
Yeah, I know. Don't get too excited. And then also, you know, it's an asphalt track as opposed to a concrete track. The tires are obviously not going to wear the same way they did at Bristol. So I think you'll probably see a race closer to what you saw at Phoenix, unfortunately, than what you saw at Bristol. But I do think that going forward, NASCAR does think like Davey and Goodyear thinks that they probably hit on something by accident at Bristol, and they'll be doing some tire testing to try to recreate that at other tracks.
No. Sometimes accidents are the best thing, right?
You never know.
I mean, the phrase happy accident doesn't exist without reason. You know, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Preaching to the choir right
we've
there.
Said that a lot on this
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah, no doubt. Heather Williams, you can find her at Sports Heather. You can also find her at WCYB_Heather on Twitter. She's our NASCAR expert. And she comes on with us every Wednesday, and we appreciate you. Heather, happy Royals Day tomorrow.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out what to wear. I want to wear the championship shirt, but I feel like after 9 years, I may not be able to pull it off.
That might be a little much. But y'all are at home, right? Against Minnesota?
Against Minnesota. Reed throwing out the first pitch, so maybe he can change the mojo. Cole Reagans, I think, is getting the start, and it's a revamped team. They've made a lot of changes, especially on the pitching staff, to try to be competitive in the Central. So we'll see what we got.
It's interesting. Kansas City, Minnesota opening series. They're playing that at Kansas City. Atlanta, Philadelphia opening series on March 28th. Guess where that game is?
Oh, Philly.
It's not Atlanta.
Yeah. Why would you want to play?
Exactly. Why would you want to play somewhere warm?
Why would you want to play somewhere warm? That's why Rob Manfred was one of our sports villains yesterday. Well,
yep.
Yeah. Heather, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Together.
Thank you. Hey, when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA Columbia, we got a national champion to talk about. So, among other things, because the next segment will be our grab bag segment. Stay with us when we come back.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA. With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome back to Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely, off camera, but definitely within earshot. It's Chris Yao. Wade, you and I talked yesterday about the Freed Hardeman Lions playing Langston out in Kansas City for the NAIA National Championship.
The Lions lost, Mo.
The Lions did lose, but the Lions also did win. It was a cat fight, as it were. Yeah. Freed Hardeman trailed 40-31 at halftime. Came back for a 71-67 victory to win the national championship. I think it's their first. They were down 6 with a minute to play.
Wow.
Scored the game's final 10 points. And yeah, I believe this is their first national championship.
First men's basketball national championship. And making a comeback like that. This is a team that has, I mean, that shows a lot. And so Skurlock finishes with 12. McLaren had 6. J.J. Wheat, that guy we talked about yesterday from Clarksville, beg pardon.
Mm-hmm.
He had 9 points. He was kind of, without having watched them this year and just kind of looking through their stats, he didn't start many games. I think we said yesterday 9 out of 35, 34, and he's kind of their super sub. He played 22 minutes last night, goes 3 of 6 from the floor. And I said put up 9 points. This is a team, didn't shoot the greatest from beyond the arc at 3 of 15, but they shot well from beyond the floor, and they got that is a tough tournament to win. It's not as crazy as it used to be, as we touched on yesterday, since the regional tournament. But when you get to Kansas City, all bets are off. And the way it used to be, it was just absolute bonkers. 32 teams showed up. They start the games at like 8 a.m. and they end the last game at like 10:15, scheduled at 10:15.
That's scheduled.
I'll never forget, we were in the building. Martin Methodist was playing a game, and the lights went out because they were set on an automatic timer for midnight. They didn't think there was any way we would be playing at midnight. Oh, yeah, think again.
Was the ball live at the time?
And the craziest thing, Mo, is they don't take media timeouts, and there's 10 minutes between games. And so, and again, if you're a basketball junkie, I don't know how it is now because I haven't been back since they changed the format. Presumably that's stretched out a little more. But it was just madness because the teams really had to warm up in the hallways just as much as they
have a side gym or anything
no
like that?
side gym at Municipal. And it was crazy just watching. And if you're a basketball junkie, that old school NAIA tournament, 32 teams showing up, that is the coolest tournament of all.
I've heard about people that just went and would just literally just camp out.
Yeah. And I mean, we kind of see it a little bit in Murfreesboro when we go to the state tournament, and you replicate that a little bit, but not quite as much as the NAIA tournament. And Freed Hardeman, we mentioned yesterday, their women's program had done well. They've had success in baseball and some other sports over the years, but first ever men's basketball national championship. Hats off to Coach Stutz and those guys. And it's cool to see it done with some local flavor as well, like you've mentioned a time or two.
Absolutely. So, again, congratulations to the Freed Hardeman Lions, the 2024 NAIA men's basketball champions. Yesterday, we were talking about NFL rule changes, one of them being the kickoff rule change that will be enacted, trying to generate some more returns. You dropped a name, Devin Hester.
Mm-hmm.
I promised that wouldn't be the last time we heard that name in the show. It, in fact, was. That's on me. Well, this year's NFL Hall of Fame game will feature the Bears and the Texans.
The Bears.
The Bears. Between those two teams, they will have 4 inductees into the Hall of Fame this summer, one of whom is Devin Hester.
See, I thought he was going to be on your top 5. I was like, why would Devin Hester be a sports villain other than
No. I had just intended to talk about this game, and because I mean, on its face, Bears Texans, really? Why?
Well,
but
new quarterback likely for the Bears,
and that's what this one article in particular says, that it could be potentially the coming out party for Caleb Williams.
Right. That's why the Bears are in it. Now the Texans, I don't know. I mean, they're good, and
they are good.
You want to see that defense, but
Andre Johnson is also going in the Hall of Fame,
and that must be why.
So that helps.
It's Devin Hester.
Maybe they should just suit both of those guys up.
Hester and Johnson, I think, could still go.
Probably still
and Julius
play.
Peppers is going in too. He can still probably go.
And Steve McMichael is the third Bear, the 4th inductee. So yeah. So I mean, plenty of reason for both those fan bases to be there. I guess Andre Johnson will be the first Texan inducted. Is that right?
First Texan inducted. There will be some others though, with Dwight Freeney, linebacker Randy Gradishar. Hopefully I got that right. But most importantly, as we've mentioned a time or two on this show, the pride of Hollow Rock Brewston himself.
Yes, sir.
Patrick Willis, which, by the way, this is a complete random aside, but a couple weeks ago I covered the sectional game between Summertown and Huntington, and it just dawned on me. I saw a Patrick Willis 49ers jersey in the crowd that night, and I was like, props to whoever's rocking. It was a younger kid too, by the way. So I was like, man, props to West Tennessee representing a little bit over there.
He's still a legend, man. He's still a I'm reminded of our interview with David Cutcliffe.
Oh yeah. That was a mistake.
yeah. Goodness gracious.
For those into trends, if you want to take this to the bank, however which way, the Bears are 4-1 all time in Hall of Fame games, playing in the game in 90, 97, 2005, and 2018. I'm sure folks will be into that.
Listen,
and the Texans were just
degenerates.
Texans, incorrigible.
These are just, I didn't even bring up that fact. I'm just pointing out the stat. The other thing of note, the Texans are playing in their second ever Hall of Fame game, 2002, ahead of their inaugural season. So
assuming that they lost that one,
no record is shown there. Presumably so. Imagine that, by the way. I know it's a Hall of Fame game. I know it's a preseason, but you show up and you're playing an expansion team who's never even played a game, preseason or not. And if you were to somehow lose that one, I mean, I know it's preseason, but you got to feel bad coming out of that.
It's like the Lions going 4-0 in preseason, then going 0-16 in the regular season.
That's my favorite stat. The Lions go, like you said, 4-0, and then have that record. And then the Patriots, the year of their undefeated season, winless in the preseason.
I'm just going to tell you, if you are betting on the Hall of Fame game, what is that phone number? Well, if you even care who wins, yes.
There's a 1-800 number for you.
Yes, there is definitely a 1-800 number for you. We need to have it loaded up, because if you are betting on the first preseason game of the NFL preseason, you might want to check.
I'm gonna throw a prop down on a kickoff being returned. If Hester's gonna be in the house and they got the new rules,
how can you not?
Yeah, I mean, win or lose, I just feel like a kickoff is in the cards to be returned.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Here's the number. It's very easy. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Well, at least they make it easy for you.
Gambler. That's what you are.
1-800-GAMBLER.
It fits the bill at that point. Correct.
So just to dial it, you already take the first step, right?
Yeah.
In admitting it.
Yeah, you're well on your way. But yeah, Bears and Texans, which is
what's the date on that?
I was just scrolling for that. Usually it's in late August. And that's gonna be early August. It's gonna be August 1st at 8 p.m. in Canton. And so you can check that out. But you're right. You mentioned it yesterday, Hester.
You know what would be cool, and I don't know, I don't know how the seasons line up, but it would be awesome if that was a weekend of the UFL championship and then the Hall of Fame game on the same
it's
weekend.
Probably too late for the UFL.
Well,
They're probably going to be
start
done
this
by then.
weekend. So,
But how long they play?
I think it's 10 games plus 3 playoff games.
That's 13 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
By the way, since you're here today,
I don't know.
We should probably get your preseason picks. Speaking of people with problems, we should get your preseason picks on UFL football a little bit later.
You can't make me pick because I am fandomed.
Well, we'll maybe save that for Wild and Wacky. We could just drop that in.
That would be pretty wild and wacky
at the end, and we can revisit that. But yeah, that would be a cool idea, and kind of like the topic, and we'll talk college basketball a little bit later. I kind of liked what Chip said yesterday of the idea of having, and I think he said Jimmy Dykes was the original proposal there, have the one site hosting the men and women's regional and just play 4 days in a row.
Just a basketball extravaganza.
I mean,
it's much like what we do at
Spring
at the Glass House.
Oh, well,
I mean,
but it's boys and girls.
But it's all day long. Is what I'm saying. I mean, you're starting at, you're already starting at 11 o'clock anyway. You might as well mix in women's games too. To me, that just makes too much sense.
And there you go.
But
and that may be your problem.
The problem is the broadcasting situation.
Yep.
Because
swapping the crews out.
Yeah.
Well, swapping the
equipment out. Yeah.
Well, I would assume you just use one equipment, right? I mean, it is. You're just going to
ESPN and CBS are just going to
share. That's what. Speaking of the UFL, USFL, that's what they. That they were on NBC, Fox, and they just set up one set of equipment in Birmingham, and they just used that no matter what network they were on. Kind of like StreamYard, right? you put it in and then send it out.
Hopefully not just like StreamYard, but that's a story for another day. The Arizona Diamondbacks. You're defending National League champions, quiet as it's kept.
Don't even say that's crazy.
Yeah, right. Well, it's wild and wacky, right?
It is wild and wacky.
They got a little less wild, a little less wacky as they signed free agent left-hander Jordan Montgomery to a 1-year, $25 million deal. I mean, when you add that guy, yeah, you're adding this guy to the rotation of a team that played in the World Series last year. For everything that the Dodgers have done, for everything that the Giants have done, and whatever it is the Padres have done, Arizona said, "Hey, don't forget about us."
Yeah, that's a big pickup, and that was one of the big kind of shoes to drop, as it were, still remaining in free agency.
Right.
Yeah, going to the D-backs is solid.
Yeah.
1 year with an option. I think it's safe to say Scott Boras has finally hit his wall.
Couldn't get more than that, you're saying?
Well, just
people are tired of listening to him spew bull crap.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Right?
So,
speaking of, it is official. Tomorrow is not opening day for the Atlanta Braves.
Has it been banged already?
It has.
You know.
According to the Athletic, I will attribute that to the Athletic just in case that's wrong.
No, I will say that if it is the Athletic, it's probably right. But what that means is we will be live tomorrow.
Yeah, no best of show
because there
tomorrow.
was some question as to whether or not, with a 2:00 Central Time start on Braves Phillies, whether we would be live tomorrow. Because as you know, somebody on camera and somebody off camera are both Braves fans. Anyway, we already talked a little bit about.
I thought y'all were just going to move that for the Astros and Yankees, but I understand. 2 versus 1, I suppose. I see how
nothing personal. What time?
Democracy. 3:10 tomorrow.
3:10
Central.
Our time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I understand how it's in Houston.
So, Yankees Astros, March 28th in Houston. Royals Twins, March 28th in Kansas City.
Which is a gamble, but yeah.
It's not as much of a gamble as it would be in Minneapolis.
And that part is fair. Other cold weather games. tomorrow, and obviously with the big news nationwide yesterday, who knows? But the Orioles are supposed to host their game tomorrow
again.
The Angels.
The Orioles, who in the last 48 hours signed former Vanderbilt standout, former SEC Freshman of the Year, and former SEC Most Valuable Player. I don't know how many people have done that, but Tony Kemp is one of them, and he is now a Baltimore Oriole. He's
no longer on the Reds, right?
No longer on the Reds. The Reds released him about a week ago, and Baltimore signed him. And I will tell you, it's Tony and I were standing right about here when he got the news of his first call up.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. He was with Fresno, and it was on a Sunday afternoon, the series finale. And I thought, I hadn't been able to get down here earlier. Wanted to come out and see him. We were talking after the game, and one of his teammates said, "Hey, Skip wants to see you." Goes in, gets the word.
Wow.
He's meeting the Astros in Chicago. They're playing the White Sox on Monday.
Pack your bags, buddy. If they ain't packed yet, pack them quick.
Get up there. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And having covered a lot of minor league baseball and seen a lot of guys getting that word, that was pretty special for the former Centennial High School standout. But I digress.
You mentioned Chip Walters a moment ago, and since we're talking baseball,
did I mention Chip? What did I say about Chip?
We were talking about the basketball thing, but
yeah.
MTSU,
Mm-hmm.
MTSU legend and former major leaguer Jason Maxwell has another job. I don't know if it's a new job.
I don't know, and I was kind of holding off on that because I put in
we don't know the answer.
I texted him earlier trying to get some information from him. Yeah, long time and actually founding Ensworth baseball coach Jason Maxwell is now Ensworth athletics director Jason Maxwell. No word on whether he's doing double duty or not. I know how much he loves baseball. I know it would be tough for him to let that go. So we hope to be able to update you on that. But Jason Maxwell is the new AD over at Ensworth, replacing Ricky Bowers in that position. So congrats to Max. Friend of the show, Jason Maxwell. And
since we're in Preps ranks,
go ahead.
I will. Well,
beautiful.
You posted a great story just before we headed this way, Mo, as Columbia Central will have a new girls basketball coach next year.
They will indeed, after 3 seasons at the Lady Lions helm, the last of which Columbia Central won 20 games for the first time in 10 years. Megan Moore is stepping down. Said her 8-year-old and her 5-year-old daughters need her more. So hate to see it. Again, 3 years, 52 wins. She won 52 and 36. Not this past season, but the season before. They won district tournament championship, advanced to the region semifinals before they lost to Hillsborough. This year, again, they finished 23-9, first 20-win season since 2013-14. And that program has come a long way. And she has been a big part of it. So, again, there is an article on MainStreetMurray.com regarding that. Spoke with Central Principal Mike Steele, who said that, expecting to get some really, really top-notch and exciting applicants. And, I mean, she has made that job attractive. So, looking forward to seeing how that goes. Hate to see her go, but certainly can't argue with the reasons there. So.
Can't argue with the reasons, and it seems like, like you kind of mentioned,
she left it better than she found
than she found it, and setting them in the right place. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When we come back for the second hour of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we expect to be joined in this chair right here by
that we've kept cold. Now,
yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure his seat is cold anyway.
Oh, it's definitely cold.
Nashville Sound's all-time wins leader, manager Rick Sweet, will be joining us when we come back. Stay with us.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Welcome back to the Wild and Wacky edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, hour number 2, as we come to you live from First Horizon Park here on Junior Gilliam Way in Nashville. Wade Neely, Maurice Patton, and we are joined by, as we promised, the Nashville Sounds all-time managerial wins leader, Rick Sweet.
Wild and wacky.
It's wild and wacky, and that's exactly why we got you in here, man. Welcome back.
Nice to be back. Believe me, I just got done having a meeting with my team, and I told them it's been my favorite stop in my career, and what a great place, and how lucky they are to be here in Nashville.
You know, over the past few years, we've had a number of people kind of say, if you can't be in the majors, this may be the best place to be.
Did you hear my meeting? You were over there. I know you were right. Absolutely. That's exactly the words I used. We all want to be in the big leagues. Mm-hmm. But you know what? If you're not in the big leagues, and right now we're not, there is no better place. Yeah, I think you said might. I said there is no better place to be.
Well, see, you've been to those places. I've not necessarily. So you can speak from experience.
I won't argue with you on that.
Yeah,
all right.
But no, you've been there. So what is it about Nashville as a AAA city that separates them from anybody that might think they can compete?
Well, see, now the hard part is trying to figure out which part of it's first. Is it the fans? Is it the city? Is it the facility? I mean, all those things. It's the best facility in baseball. And if you want to go right back to it, okay, it's one of the top 3 in all of minor league baseball. It's my favorite, but that's because I'm here. But then if you throw that out the window, it's still one of the top 3, which everybody agrees on. The fans are tremendous. Even when we don't have a huge number of people in the stands, the backing is still still tremendous. And you've got the bandbox over here. That's a happening place.
Does that make you a little
Nashville.
jealous when you're in the dugout and you see
I
those
hear
folks
all
out
the
there?
stories. My right fielder comes in. You ought to see what's going on out there now. You ought to see what they're talking about. It's hilarious. The city is fantastic. You've got Broadway, but the city is fantastic. There's places. I've been here now. This is my 5th year, but it's just a great place to be all the way around. So it's the fans, it's the experience, it's the city itself. Just fantastic place to be, to experience this game of baseball that we all love so much.
Absolutely. And Rick, as you kind of get ready to dive into this new season, I guess just immediately what kind of jumps out to, or what I wanted to ask you is, what kind of gets you excited about this season in particular? It seems like this time of the year, everybody's excited about baseball, but what really kind of gets your juices going about this year's team?
Well, I think this year's team is a very good combination. A couple of years ago, I had a younger team. Last year, I had a little older team. This is a great mixture of some youth and some veterans. I think for us as an organization, we're ranked one of the top minor leagues in all of baseball. We're also we're winning accolades as one of the top defensive organizations in all of baseball, which is a relatively new type thing going on. But we've, we have fun. We've got, it starts at the top. It starts, we lose our big league manager, and the guy that steps in obviously was his bench coach and number one confidant, but he steps in, and we just had a great spring training. We're coming out of a great spring training, and I think for them it'll carry over. I know for us it definitely will carry over.
And you guys, you kind of have that wild enthusiasm to start the year. I guess I'm curious for you, having been in the bigs, obviously, for a great stretch, and then also obviously having such success here in Nashville. How do you balance that juggling act between developing the players to move on to the next level while also still trying to keep them here and win as many games as you can?
Well, I believe, and I've always believed, it's not always been that way. You develop winners. Winning is an attitude. You don't just go out and say, okay, well, we're going to win tonight. That's not how this game works, and it doesn't work that way in the big leagues. You develop winners. You start the first day of spring training. You start preparing, and that's what I do. I start preparing guys I'm pretty sure I'm going to have, and preparing them for what it's going to be, how great Nashville is. The weather's going to be great. Broadway's a great place, although I haven't been there in 3 years. I firmly believe you develop winners, and that's how you don't separate the two. You put the two together. It's a marriage, and development is the first word. But if you're just developing and you're not winning, you're not getting it done. You're not doing what they need to do. They need to learn how to be successful, how to win.
You've mentioned Nashville a couple of times, obviously with the fan support and then just the city in general. I guess I'm curious. It's got to be a real tough sell when you got a guy on the phone letting him know that he's got to come play for the Sounds and be in Nashville, right? I'm sure that's just a devastating news for the guys that are, especially the ones coming up.
Yes and no, but it's made a lot easier because if you got to be in AAA, this is the place to be. Secondly, we as an organization do a great job of moving people up and down. Now, some people, you're losing your best player all the time. Yes, I am. But I'm losing my best player, and then the other guy's, okay, I want to take that spot. I want to be the best player. And so I motivate him that way. The guy coming down, get him down here, say, hey, we got a plan. We got a plan for how to get you back to the big leagues. And we encourage that. So we keep the focus on the big leagues, but while we're focusing on that, we're winning here too.
Nashville Sounds manager Rick Sweet joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA Columbia. Rick, obviously, you think you know who you've got. You mentioned you just had a meeting with your team. The Milwaukee Brewers have not announced their opening day roster yet. They will do so, I guess, sometime tomorrow. Not sure who they open against. Should know, don't know. I guess your opening day roster will be determined to some degree,
correct,
by who they keep before you guys go to Toledo to open the season on Friday. But that said, who are some guys that you are excited over possibly having?
Yeah, you explained that well. You're on top of your game.
You know, in another life, I covered a lot of minor league baseball in another stadium across
town.
town.
Let me tell you, the big league club's playing the Mets, and they already been rained out tomorrow. So
in New York,
yeah.
So there's rain in the Northeast because the Braves and Phillies have been rained out in Philadelphia as well.
Yep. So they're rained out already. That being said, they have to have their roster done today. I believe the rain won't change that.
Okay.
For us, that's going to change a couple of spots, but we have the openings. We're ready. Just, they make their decision. I don't care what they make. I'll take whatever they want to send down because they're quality players. A couple of my guys, Jefferson Carroll, my catcher, is 19 or 20. I don't know if he's 20 yet. Is one of the top players in the country. He's in the top 100. He's in the top 50 of all minor league players in the country. We had Cheerio last year. We got Caro this year. And we didn't get to see much of Cheerio last year.
Didn't get to see much of Cheerio. Yeah,
$100 million will do that for you.
Yeah.
But that being said, Caro is the same type of player. Very, very good player. He's going to be fun to watch behind the plate.
Now, you don't have any special affection for Caro being a former catcher yourself, right?
It's our own little fraternity. It's there's a lot of love with our fraternity amongst ourselves. So absolutely. He's going to be fun. We've got Black back. I think this kid's going to be a really, really good player. I'm sure he'll be in the big leagues at some point this year. He had a great spring. We've got a kid that we brought in, 6-year free agent, Dunn, who has only played as high as AA and shocked us all. He crushed the ball. Now, he's one of those guys still waiting in spring, still waiting up there with the big league club. He originally was told he was probably going to be with us, but now they've already had an injury up there.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're waiting to see what decision they make and where we'll go with that. Joey Weimer is back. We had him 2 years ago. He spent 90% of the year in the big leagues last year.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best defensive center fielders in all of baseball.
You ain't got to tell me because he made a catch when I went down to Truist that about broke my heart.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not that sorry.
Yeah, no, we really weren't. I mean, we still wound up sweeping the series. So, I mean, it was all good. But
drive that knife in. Go ahead.
But it's nice to go. It's nice to be able to see those guys go and be successful at the top level like that.
Well, he was very successful. He saved us last year because Frelick was hurt, Mitchell was hurt. He turned out to be one of the best, if not the best, center fielder in all of baseball. He still has that in his hip pocket. We got to get his offense straightened out. And Al LaBeouf, my hitting guy here, had a great relationship with him. We'll get that figured out. In fact, he's texting me as we speak. Buffy is. Where are you? So, but back to Weimer, he's going to be fun to watch. And I think offensively, his talent offensively is as good as his defense. He's a 40-40 guy potentially at the big league level. That's how good a player he is.
Talk to me for a second, Rick. I was reading some Brewer stuff as we got ready to have you on. Sal Frelick is seeing some time at third base.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. We really, our third base spot in the big leagues is that one spot that's really open. And being a left-handed hitter, and with our outfield, with the number of people we have in the outfield,
when everybody's
healthy. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
He has the ability. He has played the infield before. We put him there, and he looked fine. He'll probably get some time at third base this year, and we'll see how he does.
Where do you expect Tyler Black to play more, first, third? Yes.
50-50. And that's a great question. I think, although with our new first baseman in the big leagues, he can flat out hit, maybe a little more to third base.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, you still want to have that versatility. We start him We started teaching him first base last year. We don't want to take that away.
You mentioned versatility, and with the universal DH, there's not a whole lot of difference between the National League game and the American League game anymore, with interleague and everything else. Is that versatility any more important for a National League player per se?
It's just as important for everybody now, but you don't see that many bona fide only DHs. Most of the teams use that DH as their off day, as to give a guy a break, and they have that versatile player to play in that spot. If we want to give Adames a day off at shortstop, bang, he becomes he becomes the DH. It's like a day off. We kick Terang over. We put Ortiz there. We have versatility. We want to put all of our outfielders in the game. When Freely goes third base, now bang, we got all our left-handers in the lineup. We got Mitchell and Yelich. Is that the guy's name in left? Yeah,
yeah.
That guy.
We've got all these. So the versatility is just as important, but it's the same in both leagues now.
Rick, as we sit here, you guys getting ready to get cranked up, going to Toledo. And I guess I'm curious. I'm always fascinated by minor league baseball, especially at the AAA level. At what point do you kind of know the real makeup of your team with so many moves kind of coming and going, or is that kind of just always a moving target in your mind?
It's always a moving target because today's the first day we've been together as a team. In fact, we're not even together. We still got guys with the Major League Club. Navarreto's not in town yet. He's still in Arizona. We got another guy still in Arizona. So we're not even together yet. I've got guys that'll fly into Toledo from New York and from Arizona. So at AAA, it's always a moving target because that's just part of the game. That's just keeping it all nice and smooth and cohesive. We use do you know what the WhatsApp is? It's all right. We use WhatsApp. I've got a team WhatsApp.
Okay.
And that's what I'm getting all my stuff on. What's going on? The WhatsApp is how we communicate. So when my guys aren't here, I don't have to call anybody. I just put something on the WhatsApp and everybody gets it. So it's our lifeblood. It's
Technology is a beautiful
God.
thing, isn't it?
For us old people, man, we got. That's why I ask a stupid question.
Hey, speaking of interesting questions, Rick, I got to ask you this. Doing a little research.
How far did you dig?
Well, you tell me. You tell me. Gonzaga graduate.
Oh yeah.
All right. Have you been keeping up with the Zags? I got to ask you. I'm contractually obligated to ask you a March Madness question. They rolled Kansas over the weekend.
No, they kicked Kansas's butt. They didn't roll them. They kicked their butt.
As predicted by off-camera Chris. Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah,
right? He's old. I seen beating his chest over there.
He's
he did call his shot.
He did actually call his shot.
I don't have Kansas. My son went to Kansas, so I'm partial. But I'm a Zag, man. It's the Zag. The girls are playing good too.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Yeah. Pretty impressive. As a long time, again, I did cover some minor league ball. Just the logistics, like you talk about, guys flying in from Arizona to Toledo, guys coming down from New York to Toledo. I guess you just kind of get there and see who you're rolling with and go from there.
Yeah, I got a lineup, but it's always in pencil with a big eraser on it. So, and the guys know that too. I post the lineup the night before, and it can change.
Subject to change without prior notice.
Without a doubt.
You talked about sticks with Caro and with Black. What's the mound looking like for you?
McHenry and Gasser are both back. Rodriguez was our along with Gasser was the co-pitcher of the year in the organization. That's three of our starters right there. And then our bullpen arms, to be honest with you, there's three or four of them. I haven't seen them throw yet. They've been with the Major League Club the whole time. I've maybe seen them 1 or 2 innings. But all that tells me is they got good arms because we're keeping them. So we've got the thing you worry about the most is starters, and we've got 2 guys that started for us a lot last year, and a third guy that came up at the end of the year and pitched very well for us. So our bullpen is going to be good. It's not as deep as it was because we've already lost a guy or 2, but we've got that coverage down in AA to when we need to go there, we can.
Rick, you've been in this position before. You've seen guys in this position before. You just mentioned Robert Gasser was the co-International League Pitcher of the Year last year. What do you say to that guy, just from a standpoint of what else can he do here?
Oh, he's got a lot more to do. There is more to do. I had him 2 years ago, and I don't know his numbers, but they weren't.
Okay.
And then the jump from 2 years ago, from 2022 to 23, he was the man. He was dominant, and his spring training was very good. So 23 to 24, you just keep getting better, more experience. He's a younger guy. He's definitely in their mix up there. I haven't seen him. He's been with the Major League Club the whole time. So, we're anticipating he'll be a guy that be that up and down guy and go up when they need a guy like that. And you're right. Some guys need to be talked to. Some guys need to be helped along with that. And experience tells me who needs it and who doesn't. But some of them understand they're part of the mix. They got to keep doing it here so they're ready to go up there.
You'll recognize his name. Former Nashville Sounds pitching coach Daryl Knowles spoke with him one time about a kid going up. And what do you tell those guys when they're going up, particularly for the first time? And he said, keep doing what you were doing here. What you were doing here is good enough.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't necessarily believe that.
Well, they don't believe it, but when you look at somebody like Knowles who's been there, it helps. It helps. Yeah, that's exactly what you tell them. And sometimes they go up and they don't, and they wind up coming back down. The next time they go up, they're ready. The next time you're right. Sometimes they have to prove it to themselves, but sometimes they'll go up and say, okay, this is all I have to do. And that's all in the individual. You don't know until it happens how they're going to react to it. But what he told him is a fact. That it's got you there. Mm-hmm. You're going to the big leagues because what you're doing works. Don't change it. There you go. Don't think you got to get better.
Yeah, and a lot of guys. Well, it's the majors. I got to do something more, right?
Yeah, that's what you think. But you're right.
Yeah. Rick Sweet, he sent a few guys up. He's been up. Longtime major league catcher, and he's excited about Hefferson. Caro. Hefferson with an H. Why? Jefferson Caro. There we go. Yeah. Colin providing us with the pronunciation guide here. There we go. Jefferson Caro. See? Yeah. Colin off air. Appreciate you, man. Rick Sweet, Nashville Sounds manager. Appreciate you.
Always a pleasure talking to you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Coach.
When we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, we're going to talk a little hoops. I don't know if we'll work any more Gonzaga, and we might have done enough of that. But we'll be speaking with Joe Sullivan of NashvilleHoops.blog. Stay with us. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. Our last segment, we will be bringing you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe. I have typically said and Florida, but I think the last couple of times we have had no Florida entrance, so maybe things are calming down there, or maybe it's just, the law of averages.
We have had some Florida-ish type stories, though.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not too far removed at any given Wednesday.
Yeah, we did have an alligator last week, so there's some Florida implications there anyway. But right now, though, we are joined by former Boston Globe sports editor and current proprietor of NashvilleHoops.blog, Joe Sullivan. Joe,
how you guys doing?
We're doing
very well.
Man, you can see where we are. How do you think we're doing?
Yeah, nice. Mo, you look like you're ready to be the bullpen coach out there. It's
no,
you're stressed on.
First base is about the extent of it, probably. Hang on just a second. Oh, excuse me. No, they don't want me teaching anybody pitching. Joe, obviously, none of our Nashville Division I entrants are still playing men's basketball, but that doesn't mean that there is no news, particularly over in West End. What was your reaction to this week's announcement, I guess Monday, of Vanderbilt's new coach?
Yeah, Mark Byington. I think this is an interesting hire. I think it's a good one. I can't sit here and tell you this is a can't miss, because I that would be dishonest on my part. Wishing Vanderbilt well, of course, but so he coached 7 years at Georgia Southern and 4 years at James Madison. This was his first NCAA tournament this year. So there's been one. And really, I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you're going to coach Vanderbilt, your goal is to make the NCAA tournament. We'd like to see that a few years in a row, and then we can start talking about Sweet 16s and other things. Sure. But to me, that's the history of Vanderbilt, making the NCAA tournament, being a team good enough to do that. And he's done that once in his career. That being said, this is a really good team this year that he had at James Madison. They beat Michigan State on opening night, when Michigan State was rated in the top 5 at that time. And they won 34 games, 34-4, I think. I might be 32-4. I'm sorry.
32-4, I think. But that 32nd one was over another Big Ten team, Wisconsin, in the opening round of the NCAA. So, yeah.
And they really won definitively. They were the better team that night. And so
all night.
That counts for a lot. And so what he's faced with, I think, is what I think Jerry Stackhouse would have been faced with if he returned, is rebuilding this roster to make it good enough to play in the SEC. I know they win some games in the SEC, but this roster, to me, as it was constructed, was not SEC level. And so the portal is now open. And this is where he could do some things. I put a story up on Nashville Hoopstop blog with some suggestions for him, and I'm sure he's paying attention. But beyond my suggestions, there's hundreds more that are out there. I think there are well over 1,000 players in the transfer portal right now that would be available to him. I mean, obviously, with the requirements that it takes to succeed, gain admittance to Vanderbilt, a highly regarded school, we all accept that.
Joe, we've seen the quote hot coach. A guy who wins a game in the NCAA tournament, wins a couple of games in the NCAA tournament, really ups his stock, and it doesn't always work.
It doesn't.
What is there about Mark Byington specifically and Vanderbilt specifically that makes this a hopeful situation and not just another exhibit in that hot coach, not necessarily great coach situation?
So he, when he got to James Madison, they were at the bottom of what was then the Colonial Athletic Association. It's now the Coastal Athletic Association, and then they moved up to the Sun Belt primarily for football, but still, I guess if we're going to look at those conferences basketball-wise, sort of even is what I would say. I would say sort of even. But they were a team of nothing was expected from when he took over. And he is in 4 years, he built them up to the best team in the Sun Belt. And they, I take that back. They did. I'm saying that now. I still think they're the best team in the Sun Belt. Appalachian State did win the regular season title in the Sun Belt this year.
Okay.
But I think most people accepted James Madison as the best team based on the overall season, even though they weren't the regular season winner. So I think that's a great accomplishment to take James Madison from really the bottom to the top of something. So that's what he has to do at Vanderbilt too. So at least he has that on his resume. He's had that success, and let's see if he can repeat it.
And you mentioned in your post the other day online, Joe, that really some portal targets kind of come easy. And we discussed a little bit about this yesterday with Michigan and their basketball search. And it seems like the easy thing to do potentially for a new coach is to go back to what they know best. And one of the targets you're really kind of throwing out there, and I've had some other Vanderbilt fans mention this, is Terrence Edwards Jr., a guy that's averaging close to 20 last year for this James Madison team.
Yeah, 6'6", but I'll call him a guard. He's a perimeter player, and he is the definition of a volume scorer. He's not a great shooter. He's going to take a lot of shots and then score a lot of points. But it seems like a natural that he would come with his coach. So many times we've seen this happen. There are exceptions, and the one that sticks out to me is Walter Clayton, who was at Florida this year, played for Rick Pitino at Iona, did not go to St. John's with him, and obviously had a great year at Florida and a great NCAA tournament this year. So we can't say it's a given, but certainly is logical, isn't it, that he would follow his coach, figuring that he is going to be then installed as one of the main cogs of this team next season. Makes sense to me.
Absolutely. And you kind of also delved into some of the academic realm, I guess, per se, but obviously these guys can play. When you talk about Malik Mack at Harvard, who's the Ivy League Freshman of the Year, it seems like these are some obviously natural potential fits for Vanderbilt. And it seems like you're insinuating, at least, Joe, that this is a team that's their best shot for instant success, is to try and land a couple of these hot names in the portal, it seems like. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the way it has to be done these days. So I was just I saw some stats that came across my X feed about freshmen in college basketball this year. There's very few freshmen who can come in, contribute significantly, and make teams better, considering how these other teams are building with veteran players who were out of the transfer portal. So I think that's what you need to do. Now, that shouldn't stop him from he has a good recruit coming in that's a Tennessee player that was one of the Tennessee players of the year. Mo, you probably know his name. I'm forgetting it. The good recruit that is coming in for Vanderbilt this year.
I'm forgetting.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Tyler Tanner from Brentwood Academy.
That's what I'm thinking of. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And so I would hope he would stick with him and get him to stick with Vanderbilt because you need young, talented players too. You can't. I think it needs a mix. Is what you need. You need some talented young players, and you need veterans out of the portal. That's how you build championship teams these days, for the most part.
I really feel like too, Joe, that there is a Vanderbilt player in the portal that Mark Byington might ought to spend some time trying to get him to reverse his steps.
Well, yes. So so Colin Smith and Rivera Torres, the freshman that played for the Measure, both said they're willing to consider returning. So yeah, I think both of those would be good to try to get back. Sounds like Terren Lawrence is on his way out, but he should also take a shot at getting him to come back. But I think the other two in the transfer, Lee Dort, he's not coming back, as we know, because of his problems he had off the court. And Paul Lewis was a sophomore guard this year. I'm not sure how much he adds. If he's one of Stack's problems, among others, that I don't think he's an SEC level player.
Joe, as we wrapped up the first weekend of the big dance there, what caught your mind? What stuck out in your mind as you watched, like we all did, a full weekend of the opening round of the NCAA tournament?
This really would have been a good opportunity for you to spank me about my touting New Mexico last week.
I was all in on New Mexico.
Yeah,
I can take it. But I didn't recognize that team that played out there. They really played a horrible game, and they got killed. But I think as I look at this at the bracket now, I just think UConn. I don't like playing favorites. If you meet me up at Kentucky Downs in September, and you ask me who I like, I'm probably not going to give you a favorite. And I hate giving you a favorite in the NCAA tournament, but UConn really clearly looks like the best team.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure who's going to beat them.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it was we were talking to, but they may not be a lock, but they feel like they are the closest thing to a lock of the 16 teams that are left.
Yeah, sure. Of course they could lose, but it doesn't look like they're going to. How's that? And
nobody thought Alabama was going to lose to San Diego State last year in the Sweet 16, and here we are. So I'm just saying, you never know.
Right, you're right, and you're right to say that. So the team that's interesting that they're going to have to face is they have San Diego State in the rematch of the national final, and this week. So that I hope will be an interesting competitive game. And Illinois has been impressive in their two games, so I think they're a threat. But I still think UConn's going to come out of the East, and I think they're the best team overall.
UConn versus a field, you're taking UConn, huh?
Well, yeah. So we're left with just 16 now. So yeah, I am taking a field. I mean, if you look at other obvious teams, boy, Houston, they were really shaky at the end of that game on Sunday, weren't they? Almost blew that against Texas A&M. I was ready to turn it off, and I'm glad I left it on. And for Rick Sweet, the Gonzaga-Purdue game this week on Friday night really shapes up as an interesting one. The Zags, I think, are big enough to maybe contend with Zach Edey, the National Player of the Year for Purdue. Maybe that's going to be a fascinating matchup, I think. But I do think, and then we have our Tennessee Vols playing Creighton. They will win this game. Can I just go out and flatly state, I know how you love how I make predictions like this. Tennessee will advance. Tennessee will advance against Creighton. I think Creighton is like soft as melting snow, and I think Tennessee will really put it to them. And then it would be probably Tennessee Purdue. Do the Vols have it in them to beat Purdue? Maybe
that's the question. And Chris sitting here with battered Vol syndrome as he does. He really needed to hear that reassurance that Tennessee will beat Creighton, and
so long as they don't end up like New Mexico.
Yeah. So,
real quick, speaking of which, Joe, I'm sure as a historian as yourself, you'll recall the only other time that Tennessee has met Creighton in college basketball.
1927.
You got to go back to 1937 when Tennessee wins a squeaker 34-28. So if nothing else, history is on the Vols side. So I think you might be onto something there.
January 9th.
1937.
Had to be an accident that they played back then, right? Some sort of tournament or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I saw that yesterday, and it kind of just blew my mind because I thought, yeah, for sure, somewhere along the way, whether it's in Maui or, the Great Alaskan Shootout, that those teams would have played at some point, but haven't played since 1937, my friend.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, Creighton, for a long time, Creighton was in the Missouri Valley, and those really aren't teams that Tennessee would normally schedule. The Missouri Valley is not a good bye game, or Missouri Valley doesn't play in those big tournaments. It's changed for Creighton being in the Big East. It's changed. They're perceived differently.
No, I don't think you can get a whole lot of trend out of that game, Wade, from what's that, 87 years ago?
Yeah. You gotta dial it back quite a bit, but
just a bit. Joe Sullivan of NashvilleHoops.blog. Joe, you've got an event, or you are involved with an event here in a few weeks that we should probably get on folks' calendar. Although I personally will need reminding, but tell us about it.
I'm here for you, Mo. I'm here for you on the reminders. So this is Tennessee's version of Coaches versus Cancer, which is connected to the American Cancer Society. And Coaches versus Cancer nationwide raises money for cancer research, which I think we can all say confidently that this horrible disease has touched all of us at one time or another, family or friends, or even ourselves. And to work for a cure for cancer is an honorable work done by the American Cancer Society and the Coaches versus Cancer nationwide. In Tennessee, so there's a golf tournament coming up on May 6th, sold out already, which is stunning. And there's also a Coaches versus Cancer breakfast on May 2nd at the Brentwood Baptist Church. However, I think the best thing for our listeners would be they can make donations directly to Coaches versus Cancer. Really, if you just Google Coaches versus Cancer Tennessee, you'll get it. But the website is it's Coaches versus Cancer TN, the abbreviation of Tennessee.com. And that would get you to a spot where you can make a donation, maybe in memory of someone or for someone who's ill. And you couldn't find a better cause. There's a lot of great causes in the world, but this one certainly affects just about everyone in the world at one time or another. And this is a great effort by the college coaches here in Tennessee to raise their goal is $500,000 to raise for this. So we're hoping we can reach that, and we need everyone's help. So thank you for mentioning that, Mo.
No, glad to do it, man. Do you know who some of the coaches are that are on the docket to appear at the luncheon?
At the breakfast on May 2nd, we will have all the local coaches. We hope we don't have it. It's not officially confirmed yet, but I think the most coach that everyone's going to be interested. We hope that Mark Byington is there, right in the center. We're going to put him right in the middle.
There you go.
They ask him a lot of questions, but Casey Alexander and Lenny Acuff should be there. Penny Collins confirmed to me recently, and we hope Nick McDevitt. Haven't had confirmation from Nick, but I'm sure he's going to come. And Shea Ralph, the Vanderbilt women's coach, should be there also. We can't forget the women's game. So doing so well right now. And she had a great season, so I'm sure she'll have a lot of things to say about her team and the future.
Okay. Sounds good. Joe Sullivan, you can find him on X at Globe Sullivan. You can find his work at NashvilleHoops.blog. And if you want to keep up with Division I basketball in and around Nashville, no better source to do it than Joe Sullivan, man. We appreciate you and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you. I'm going back to look at the transfer portal list right now.
Keep us up to date, and we will be sure and check you out, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
It's Wild and Wacky Wednesday. When we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, we will be bringing you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe. Stay tuned. I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros. Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that EY's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No.
No. Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's just
you got that right, and
that's bottom
there's
line.
be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball. There's a football. There's a baseball. Maybe not a puck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
We're back here on Main Street Sports today, presented by TOA Columbia, Chris Yao, and I'm on camera now. Hey, guys, I am here.
It is officially wild. It is officially wacky.
It is indeed wild and wacky Wednesday. And Wade, what a day to be at the ballpark, though.
Man, it really is. And Rick Sweet,
wind's notwithstanding.
Wind is a little problematic, but other than that, we're okay. And Rick Sweet said it best. I mean, this is this time of the year, and I'm not as diehard of a baseball fan as you and Mo these days until you get to maybe September. Then I really get cranked back up. But something around this time of the year, man, it's just hard to beat. And when you're at the ballpark, it really, there is no better place. There really isn't.
Well, should be a lot of fun as they go to Toledo this weekend and then come back home for St. Paul. And of course, every Sunday here at First Horizon Park, you can come hang out with folks from Main Street Media Television, as it is Sunday Family Fun Day, and we are the media partner. You can also see me warming up already for April 7th in that first pitch.
Is that your opening day?
I'm here first Sunday.
You know, I found a clip the other
dart.
day, and I'm hoping to maybe toe the rubber or at least the cut later this year. I saw the clip, and I think it was at the Cubs a few years ago, but Harbaugh, my beloved Jim Harbaugh, he goes all out, and this kind of dovetails perfectly into Wild and Wacky here. He wore the spikes, and he had his glove, and then he immediately takes, the spikes off. He spent more time putting the spikes on and off, I think, than he did actually throwing out the pitch. So I'm not committed to that level, but I think I'm gonna get the glove. But you're right, you gotta warm up the arm because even for one pitch, it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge for me.
Yeah, it can be difficult, so you just got to be careful.
And April 7th, I'm writing that down, partner.
Yeah. All right, so before we get into Wild and Wacky, you asked me for my prediction. We'll give it to you as the UFL kicks off this weekend, and I do believe that it's Birmingham at Arlington, which will feature the champions from the two leagues that merged, the USFL champion Birmingham Stallions and the Arlington Renegades of the XFL, kicking off the UFL season. And no better way to do it than the two champs getting in. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Birmingham's gonna get back great quarterback room. Matt Corral, Adrian Martinez, and Jamar Smith, who has been obviously part of the two championship teams, as well as played for Skip Holtz at La Tech. So, he's got kind of the upper hand a little bit, but boy, the talent level.
That's a hell of a quarterback room, like you said.
The talent level in that room is undeniable. Jay Sternberger back at tight end, and the defense led by Scooby Wright of Arizona, just an absolute juggernaut. I think, however, instead of Arlington, Don't be surprised if you see AJ McCarron and the Battlehawks playing at home, as the championship game will be held at the Dome at whatever they call it these days in St. Louis. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be St. Louis and Birmingham in the finals, and I'm hoping Birmingham wins, but I would probably lean toward the homestanding Battlehawks.
And
so there you go.
So now that is a great way to kick off Wild and Wacky. I mean, and we will cut that clip and revisit later this summer.
Around what, June 16th, I think, is the championship game. So they try to get that championship game done before OTAs and all of that, which makes a lot of sense. But all right, we are here now. Mo is back after visiting with Doug Scopel.
Had to visit with Doug. You had me muted.
Well,
you pulled a JP.
I didn't want to. Didn't want the ambient noise of your microphone.
Open mic.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad. Well, I figured I was leaving Wild and Wacky in pretty good hands here, so I felt like I could step away, and I figured I'd just come back and be a one-man laugh track.
Well, here you go.
All right.
We'll start in. You don't want to start in North or South Carolina?
By the way, I told Mo yesterday, I've been rewatching Eastbound and Down, so give me North Carolina. Let's start there. I haven't made it to the South Carolina part of that series just yet.
Well, obviously, anyone who knows anything about NASCAR knows its roots. It's in moonshining, outrunning the law, etc. And for decades at North Wilkesboro Speedway, there was a rumor that in the infield, that if you went down into a small tunnel, you would have run into a moonshine still. Well, rumors no more. Wilkes County locals may have more reason to say I told you so after a moonshine cave has been discovered underneath the concrete front stretch of the grandstands. As grandstand cleaning and inspection last week, operations staff discovered cracks in the original concrete section. Crews began removing seats to inspect the extent of the damage and evaluate needs for repair. During the process, an open area of approximately 700 square feet was discovered under the aging concrete. When we began renovating and restoring the Speedway in 2022, we'd hear stories of old moonshine stills. Well, that's what Steve Swift said, and we haven't found a still yet, but we found a cave and an interior wall that would have been a pretty good location for one. So 600.
This is all circumstantial, says any attorney in Wilkes County, North Carolina.
Hey, it's not a moonshine making
operation
cave.
If they're not making moonshine,
but it is a cave in which making moonshine would have been very it's a desirable location for making moonshine.
It's got all the familiar trappings.
Well, it's just it's a good location. I mean, you're in a cave underneath the speedway. The law can't get you there.
You may not even have jurisdiction there.
If they weren't making moonshine, somebody missed a dang good opportunity, is what you're telling me, right?
I'm telling you that
they were
at some point in the past.
Oh, they were definitely making moonshine down there.
Some nut said to his wife, pass that jar. As James Gregory would say.
Okay, so let me ask you this, though. Where was the water source?
That I don't know, but there is one. There's one over there somewhere. So, all right, we go to South Carolina now. We talked about it. Somebody won the Mega Millions. Was it you?
Wasn't me.
Clearly, he's here today.
Well, I lost it all. I'm betting on the NFL preseason.
Yeah.
But if maybe you woke up tomorrow morning and there was an extra 1.8 billion in the bank.
1.8 billion with a B. Okay. Okay.
What would be your first question? Where the heck did that come from?
No, my first question would be, what offshore account can I get
How
this
quickly
into?
can I get that out?
Yeah, I got to get this transferred ASAP.
And then we'll worry about where it came from. Well, that's the question today that South Carolina lawmakers are asking, because they've got an account with 1.8 billion in it and no one knows where it came from. Or where it's supposed to go, by the way.
I think this is a don't ask questions kind of thing.
Well, here's the problem. Last year, elected Republican Comptroller General, the state's top accountant, resigned after his agency began double posting money in higher education accounts, leading to a $3.5 billion error on paper. So, so the problem is that this ain't the first time that we've had these issues in South Carolina. And so now they are trying to untangle a mess, but it appears that every time the state's books are out of whack, money was shifted from somewhere into an account that helped balance it out. So basically they were just moving money around to to cover the checks here, cover the checks there.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And so they've got an account with $1.8 billion, and nobody knows where it came from or where it's supposed to go.
I don't know this. I don't know this for sure, but I feel like Alec Murdaugh is somehow involved in all this. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
This was my first thought. Was
just my initial inclination.
How does Alec Murdaugh fit into
I'm
this?
just saying if they need to get rid of $1.8 billion to balance the book.
Yeah.
I can give them my account number.
Yeah.
I will do y'all that favor. If you just need to get that thing down to zero,
I can help.
Holler at your boy.
Let me help you.
Yep. Sure.
Oh man. Finally, how about Maine? This is weird, right?
Oh.
We're rarely in the Northeast in this thing.
Rarely, but every now and then.
Now, this isn't exactly New York, but fly me to the moon, as the chairman might say.
Yes, sir.
In Maine, you can do just that. Maine's largest airport, which is probably about as big as the press box here at First Horizon Park.
It's not as big as Hit City Hall over here.
Zero chance.
No.
It's now home to the second largest piece of the moon on Earth, according to moon rock enthusiasts, because there are, of course, moon rock enthusiasts.
Time out.
Big subreddit.
Time out. You've got kids. Have you seen Despicable Me?
Yes.
We are going to steal the moon.
Well, you can in fact try.
You can at least attempt it.
The moon piece is a little bigger than a rugby ball for Ian. And
there we go.
You're welcome, Ian.
Ian in Australia. Yeah.
And is on loan to the Portland International Jetport. International Jetport. And is on display on Tuesday. Or went on display on Tuesday. So
yesterday.
If you ever get a chance, it weighs 94 pounds and you can go
94 pounds in the size of a soccer ball?
If you a little over the rugby ball. So yeah.
Okay.
So in order to fly you to the moon, you'd have to fly to Portland, Maine. And I'm not sure if there's a direct flight out of BNA or not, but
to Portland,
you might can get there from John C. Toon, but BNA might be out of the question.
Yeah. I think
We can take you to the moon, but you got to go to Maine first.
You give it to LA via Omaha.
for the second time in this show, you can't get there from here.
You cannot get there. You'll end up in Jolton.
Jolton catching straight. Wow.
Just watch out. So there you go. That's my wild and wacky Wednesday stories for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
That is your wild and wacky. Unfortunately, once again, no Florida. We
which means we're probably just setting up for something big in the next week or
we're
two.
probably setting up for a show of nothing but.
Had some, yeah. You can compile Florida.
Yeah. Without videos. Wild and Wacky Wednesday brought to you by you.
Could be.
Absolutely. Hit us up at @MS_sports today or however else you care to reach us. If you want to sponsor Wild and Wacky Wednesday, we can figure it out. Thanks for joining us out here at First Horizon Park. Wade Neely, Chris Yao, I'm Maurice Patton. I think we will all be with you tomorrow at 2 Bells from the Lee Company studio in Columbia. So check us out. Oh, Astros Yankees 3:10 tomorrow for Wade. So
someone's going to play tomorrow.
We'll get our stuff in before then.
Absolutely. Talk to y'all later.